Scientific thought process. Superb. Any other points?
Interbreeding between different human species.
What is not science?
It is not science. Interbreeding between different Homo species. Okay.
Also, we learned about evolution.
Some basics of evolution. Okay. Okay. What else? What else? Any other points? Any other points? Anyone?
Civilization has developed through collective work.
Wow, that is super point. Okay, civilization is developed through collective work. Okay, great. Okay, fine. So, those who joined just now, did you have any problem in joining the class? Shivananta, Ananya, Navaneet and all?
No, sir.
Okay, okay. Anybody had a problem of passcode, getting a passcode incorrect message? No, anyone else?
We even learned that the Homo sapiens origination from Africa.
Ah, okay, good point. Okay, so all of us hail from Africa, right? Okay, fine, good. Okay, okay, okay. Vinayak Poland on last. Okay, so now let us get into today's topics, right? So what we covered yesterday was up to some point. We came up to the origin from Africa, right? Like the year 300,000, 250,000 years before, and then the Denisovans and Neanderthals got extinct. Then that is maybe some 30,000, 40,000 years before, till that point, right? So that, you know, what happens then after that? Then we become the only species from Homo who are left in this universe, or not universe, I would say, in Earth. Okay, so the all other Homo species all got extinct, and then like only we are here. So then what happens is there is a huge change happens. The human beings at that time used to be what we call as Stone Age, and what our ancestors used to do at that time, you know, the primary focus of any animal is to get food. That is the primary focus, and then second is to reproduce. So that is the instinct in evolution is for that. How do you reproduce? So that you maintain your people, maintain your generations, and how do you eat? How do you get food? You know, that is the key. So our people used to do what we call as hunter-gatherer. Have you heard this term? Hunter-gatherer.
Yes.
Yeah. So you might have learned in history, right? So as the word indicates, can somebody explain what does it mean? Hunter-gatherer.
Sir, hunter-gatherers are tribals who hunt for their food and gather their food for later use.
Yeah. So like the word tribal is actually what we denote is people who still continue to do that now also. So it's like that time all were same, all were hunter-gatherers. So today we call hunter-gatherer to people, those who still continue to follow that kind of a civilizational method. Some part of new also, right? So for example, like if you look at people, certain kind of people in Andamans, certain kind of people in Andamans, we still feel they are very primitive, still follow the primitive kind of life, okay? So that is what we call as hunter-gatherer. And then what happens is throughout the origin of universe, there have been this so-called climate changes. Climate change means at some point means it takes thousands of years. So Earth will heat up. The temperature will increase. And then, that will go to some point and some species will get extinct. And after that peak, then the temperature will come down, it will reduce, and then it will become much, much lower. And then a huge ice formation will start happening. So this is called climate change cycles. Okay, you might have heard the word called climate change. So this is called climate change cycle. So the rough estimate was that uh, after the maybe the Earth formation, the humans and Homo sapiens kind of stuff, there were approximately 5 major climate changes have happened. Is what we estimate, major, and then a number of minor climate change. Okay, you might have seen the movie Ice Age and all those things, right? So it is like that. So this major climate change means the duration is pretty longer and the impact is pretty high, and lots of species will get extinct. Lots of species, because they won't get food, they won't be able to survive. Okay, and now this, if we fear that we might be staring at a 6th major climate change. Okay. Okay. So, but there is a difference between this so-called 6th climate change, which we are staring at, and the previous 5. Do you have an idea?
The previous 5 was caused by nature, and the 6th one is caused by humans.
Yeah. So this one is like most of the indicators point to that it is because of the human activity. Yeah? So like we know that as we saw in the previous classes, evolution happened. Human became an intelligent species, and humans started using their brain, and their brain started getting developing. And then we started controlling the nature, which is like good, and which means our life living standard is improving. That's why all of you are wearing nice clothes and sitting, and you are sitting in front of computer in a good house. So all those are because of the development happened. But in the process, your activities started affecting nature. Okay, so now we feel if the temperature goes up because of say 2 degrees or 2.5 degrees, many of the places which we have now will be underwater, and many of the species will get extinct, and we won't be able to survive. And that is where the depletion of ozone layer and everything comes. That's why there's a huge hue and cry for fighting the climate change. Understand? Okay, so that is one assignment I would give you today. What all can be done? What all can be done to avert a 6th climate change? What all you can do when you grow up, when you become the citizens, you become the responsible citizens, as is expected, so that a 6th climate change and next climate change can be averted. Okay, so now, but this major climate changes and major ice ages are one, but then we had a very not that major, but a reasonable, maybe around 12-15,000 year prolonged minor climate change. Somewhere, I think, if I'm right, started around 20,000, 22,000 year BC. And that ended in, say, 10,000 year BC. 10,000 year BC. So when I'm telling these numbers, you don't have to by heart this number when we tell 13.2 billion years or 4.6 billion years is the life of Earth. You don't have to by heart it, but you should have a sense of it. Like, well, after the universe beginning, after almost half the time is when Earth is starting. Okay, and like when after the Earth is starting, after so much time is humans coming into picture, and after that, after again further much time is 10,000 BC is a very small thing, which means around 12,000 years. 10,000 BC till now is around 12,000 years, right? 2,000 years of this 2020 and 10,000 years, and that is a very small duration compared to the universe existence. Do you get that? Yeah, so that sense you should have. No need to by heart these figures, but that sense of it you should have. For example, if you tell an elephant and an ant, you may not know the exact height of elephant and width of elephant and length of ant, but you get a sense, right? What would be the size difference between elephant, ant, deer, giraffe? You will get a sense. So that sense is important. Okay, so you understand that maybe 10,000 BC approximately was the end of last ice age, not the major climate change, but an ice age. Okay, and then towards that time, the people who were living as hunter-gatherers, they started there are a lot of disputes in that. There are a lot of theories, but some of the theories are that the climate change caused some of the species, food species, which they used to hunt, became extinct kind of. They were not getting. And then some of the places became tough to manage, tough to live kind of. So there are some other theories also. So this forced the human beings to think about having some facility to have food, having some kind of stable facility for food. Like you can't search for animals to hunt every time. And sometimes what happens if for 2 weeks you don't get food, then you are in trouble, right? But then what does it also mean? It also means all our ancestors were non-vegetarians. Okay, so that is the funny part of it. Okay, so that's when people tell that no, like we all have to be vegetarian. That is what is human. There's nothing wrong if you want to be vegetarian, but then human beings, we were like all hunter-gatherers everywhere. Were predominantly hunter-gatherers. We used to hunt and live. Well, they used to eat some kind of fruits and things which are available also, but the food, the predominant food used to be meat. Okay, but now you have the luxury. So at that point, maybe the biggest invention of mankind happens. Biggest invention of mankind, which changed the so-called human Homo sapiens species, and which is actually the base of today's civilization. You have any
Sir, the
idea?
wheel.
Fire.
Sir, wheel.
Wheel, okay, fire, okay,
Sir, agriculture.
agriculture, okay, you see. So that all of these wheel and fire are good answers. Okay, good answers. BC will stop at zero. See, actually, nowadays we don't use this words called BC. Nowadays we use the two terms. Before we used to use BC and AD. So starting from Christ, it is AD, and before that it is BC. But now we use because when we tell starting from Christ, it is a notation of a religion. So now we use two words called CE, which is current era, now current CE, and the old BC we now use it as BCE, before current era. So all the historical stuff now we use CE and BCE. So CE is the current AD.
Hello, common അല്ലേ?
Yeah. I don't know. You just check that whether it is common era or current era. Sorry. If I'm wrong, sorry, please correct. Okay. So it is. I think they have checked and corrected as common era. Thank you. So it is CE and the BCE. Okay. So the current time, whatever our time, whatever we are going on, is CE. So that is the AD, old AD. Okay. And the previous one is BCE. Okay. So, but okay, that's only a notation of time. So now, what will happen when hunter-gatherers become farmers? People who used to settle, search for food, some people stay here, after some point they migrate and go and search some other place and settle and then eat, then hunt, then move. That is how the migration happened. What will happen when farming starts? Can you think?
They have to settle at a
Sir, we
place.
don't need to hunt. We can get. We can make. We can produce our own food.
Both are good points. They have to settle at one point and you can produce your food.
Pottery developed to store grains.
Yeah, you have facilities to store grain. Okay. What will be the change? Yes, Shivananda?
Civilization.
Yeah. So you see what, yeah, like Benedict and all everything. You see what will happen. See, think about it. What is the difference between the pet you have at your home, the pet dog which you have at your home, and the street dog? You just think about their behavior. What is the change you observe?
Domestication of animals.
Yeah, domestication is there. Yes, of course. What will the change you observe of the street dogs and the pet dog at your home?
Sir, street dogs are more wild.
Okay, more wild. Okay.
They are
Sir,
civilized.
What? Ayati?
sir, these street dogs are actually mentally wolves
Sure.
Okay.
because they don't mingle with you. But these pet dogs, they'll mingle with everyone they see.
Street dogs do mingle. Okay. Ayati, what you were telling?
Pet dogs are civilized. More civilized.
For civilized. Okay. Okay. Okay.
Street dogs will carry viruses and germs and all, but pet dogs are more nourished.
Okay. Pet dogs protected. Okay. All these are good points. But from a food point of view, don't you see that the pet dogs have more time to do their dispensation? They just sit or sleep or walk or this thing. You see, the street dogs will be full time busy running around to see where is their next food coming. Haven't you noticed they fight with the other dogs all the time? Because they are on search of food. You see that when the food issue is settled, it leaves with you lots of time. Then you can get domesticated, then you can become civilized, and you can try to learn how to play with ball. You see? So when food issue is not settled, then whether it is human beings or animals, you are on a perennial run. Every day morning, your botheration is where will I get my meal? Understand? What if you get like you start agriculture and then like you have your granary full of food? What will you do next? You have time at your disposal. You get up in the morning, I don't have to hunt today. Okay. What will you do? You have to
Trading.
think. Yeah, you can. Then, yeah, and you have more produce. You have time. Then you can think about systems of how to protect our farming. Then some people will think, why don't we go and invade those other farmers and get their food and keep it with us so that we become stronger? And then they will start attacking you back. Then comes military. Then people will think that, oh, we have done enough work, let us have some fun. Then come songs, art, music. You see, that's how societies form. Understand? That's how societies form. So that the agriculture actually changed the civilization. So whatever we see today, probably it accelerated, I must say, with the farming. And that changed everything. Like trading started, you have food, and some people start creating something else, and then you start trading. Then for trading, you need currency. Then you comes economy. Then you need some hierarchy because people will fight each other. You have in stock your granary, somebody may come and rob it. Then you need defense. Then you need police. Then you need law. You see, so that's how the civilization develops. Okay, so that if you see when I see in this drawing when I tell 12 KYA, that is another timeline which we use in history. KYA is kilo years ago. Kilo years ago. So which means 12 KYA means 12,000 years ago, which is 10,000 BC. Because 2,000 years are already passed in the current CE. So 10,000 BC means from now 12,000 years before, right? So that is approximately the end of the last ice age. Do you get that? And that is probably like you don't have like hard line from that day, one fine day people start agriculture. It is not like that. This all happens through hundreds of years, changes. And it is not like in one place. It started in many places, in Far East, in Near East, in Africa, in China. So in many places in America, many places it starts simultaneously, not maybe exactly at the same day, same year, same century, may not be in same millennium. It could change. So then is when whatever we call as the slowly the cities and the what we call as the civilization things started, right? So that is why it takes so much time from 10,000, then slowly the settlements, all those things, kinships and all those develop. That is approximately from 4,000, 3,500 BC is when the known civilizations emerge. Which all are the known ancient civilizations to you?
Mesopotamian. Mesopotamian civilization.
The
Okay.
Egyptian civilization.
Greek civilization.
Greek, okay.
Egyptian civilization.
Okay, okay. Right, right. Indus Valley, Harappan, Indus Valley, all are good. Okay, all are same. So that most of those things, if you see, it starts from around 3,000 year, 3,000, 3,500 year BC. Okay, which means around 5,000, 5,500 year before today. Chinese, all those things, right? So now, if you look at it, that is where what we call as the initial science began. So if you look at it, hunter-gatherers also, do they use science? They use science. For example, when you want to kill, when you want to hunt, let us say a big cow, or maybe the older version of cow, you use some kind of a weapon and kill that. Where will you hit? If you have some kind of a sharp weapon, if you want to kill, say, a cow or a buffalo or something, or a tiger, where will you hit?
In its
The
head.
stomach or the neck region.
Both neck, okay,
In the head.
the head, okay.
In the stomach or the chest and the neck region.
Yeah, see, unfortunate thing is we don't have the freedom by telling the tiger comes, give at the stomach, but telling tiger, wait, sorry, wrong place. Okay, fine. Next, neck. Okay, sorry, it didn't work. Okay, we don't have that freedom. Okay, tiger will tell, wait, beta, only one chance, you are out now. Okay, so they are also, they would have lost lives initially. So they laid it over a period.
Sir, I.
Okay. How do you decide that? Where to hit?
Sir, if the eye is gone, then how can he see? Anyway, he's there.
Aha, very smart. So I think we will send Vinayak in front of a tiger which doesn't have an eye.
Sir, I need AK-47 rifle.
Okay. Okay. So you think about it. What is the important point? Where to hit? They would have learned it through trial and error, right? They would have lost lives, but at some point they would have learned, when I hit at this point, the animal is dying, right? So that is what it answers the first two questions, whatever we told. What is happening? How it is happening? But they don't know why it is happening. Why, when I hit on a specific point, this animal is dying? You understand? So we told 5 questions you have to ask to get into the science. So what happens? They know. If I hit this tiger here, it is dying. How it happens also it knows. When I hit here, the blood comes out, and then after some point it dies. But it doesn't know why it happens. It also doesn't know tomorrow, if I hit another animal at the same point, will it die? They don't know. So they use science without knowing why it is happening. A simple thing, you tell me, why are the weapons sharp?
So, sir, we can easily pierce through the body.
Why? Why a sharp weapon pierces easily?
Sir, less area, more pressure is exerted.
Yeah, so that is the science of it. So what Fatima told is the science of it. That is what we call as pressure. But they didn't know the concept of pressure. But now we know why. But they know that a sharp weapon is needed to kill. But they didn't know by telling that, oh, fine, better now take that next weapon because the pressure, the area for that is lesser. They didn't know that. But then they understood that a sharp weapon is good. So that's what I'm telling. They were using science, but they were not able to get into this third and fourth and fifth questions. So now you will see when we go through the separate civilizations, what all were the scientific advancements of them. They have developed a lot of things, but may not have got into the third, fourth, and fifth questions, but then slowly started getting. How they got into that? How this human civilization started getting into the science way of thinking. Okay? So that is our subject, our topic, right? Okay. So this is Mesopotamia. We will start with that. Supposed to be the ancient, most ancient civilization. And you would have also noticed that all the civilizations come near rivers, right? Why is that?
So for irrigation purposes.
Yeah, if you told if you want to
Water.
do, yeah, if you want to do farming, you need irrigation, right? Is it that alone? Anything else?
So for drinking also.
For drinking, anything else? Anything else? Can you think of? Yeah, Ananya told like transport. You see, it's the easiest and cheapest form of transport. If you want to send some stuff, whatever that you produce to another place, that's the easiest way, right? Okay. So now that is time. This you know which river bank Mesopotamian civilization will developed? Yeah. Which two rivers? Tigris. Yes. Euphrates. Okay. So all the civilization near some rivers, right? And as many of you told, they had invented wheel. Why do you think that is important? Wheel was important. Somebody also told before. Invention of wheel was
Transportation.
For transportation.
actually speaking. Starting of wheel was not in transportation.
For drawing water.
Oh, yeah. Who told pottery? Okay, okay. So you see, actually the origin was in pottery. The origin was in pottery. But later, yes, drawing water, transportation, all those things came. But there is another importance for wheel. And it is that I will give a clue that is related to maths.
Sir, payana.
Yeah. So you see, the shape of Earth, if you know it precisely, then only you can move and travel. When you travel through maybe land or water, if you want to decide that this is the location I have to go, you have to know the shape of it because it is three-dimensional. It is not two-dimensional, right? Just three-dimensional. So the angle also matters. Okay. So this was a confusion in people for a long time. They want to travel. They want to go to other places. They had some idea. But then you exactly don't know when you do not have motorized boats where you can have GPS kind of pointers. So you don't have a very clear idea about the circumference of Earth and also say the diameter of Earth. So this was a puzzle. But then people realized that when they made wheels and used wheels for pottery and other things, they realized that the diameter of the wheel and the circumference of the wheel actually have some relationship. That they realized. Yeah? You know that relationship, right? You know that relationship, right? The relationship between diameter of a circle and circumference of a circle, or the perimeter of
Yes,
Earth
sir.
and diameter of Earth. That is what we call as pi. Okay, so when the diameter is 1, then the perimeter is 1 pi, and diameter is 5, perimeter is 5 pi. So that is the relationship. So this pi is an important man throughout the civilization. You have to get hold of it. If you don't get an accurate value of pi, it will happen like Columbus. You'll go to one place and you will reach another place. And so many people, it happened like that. Okay. So getting the accurate value of pi was a very important invention, a very important discovery during civilization. And this wheel is actually an important player in that. Okay. Right. And when you see they have developed calendars, have you seen this? This is what Ritish was talking the other day. This is how we know about Mesopotamian civilization, something which was dug maybe 100 plus years before. Otherwise, how do we know about what were they doing?
Seals, right?
Is that?
Seals
No.
or tablets.
Yeah. So this is what you told us the other day, like it's called clay tablets. You see, they want to document. They want to document all those things, but how do you document? Yeah, so they started, putting this writing in tablet, then in clays, and then they heat it up in kiln, maybe the ancient form of kiln, and then they buried it, to archive it, to save the data for the next generations, and kept it safe. And this is one such clay tablet. Okay. So those who are not there attended previous classes. Can somebody attempt? What is this? What would have been written here? What is it that they have? This is each tablet contains some information. Can you just look at this? Can you think what could be this information?
The script of the Mesopotamian civilization.
That is right, but that 130 and all are written by us. Okay, it is not their writing. Their writing is only those marks, that diagram, that rectangle or square, whatever it is, and the diagram and the marks are theirs. Do you have any days? Okay.
And the importance of the days, like what happened or something.
Okay, good guess. This is 5,000 years back. Okay. Now, those who are there in the previous classes, your turn starts.
60-base system.
60-base system is right, but what does this number belong to?
Eclipse
It's not eclipse.
20. Eclipse
So she's right. They were using something called 60-base system. And this was the value of root 2. They had written up to 3 decimals in 60-base system. Root 2, okay? 5,000 years back. So up to 3 decimals. So I hope you understand when you tell number system base, right? So what number system we use? What number system you and me use? 1, 2, 3, 5, 10. What is that? Okay, base. Indo-Arabic. Base. Yeah. So that is what we use is what we call as base 10. Base 10. Why it is base 10? Because they have 10 numbers. So when we tell a number is 658, what is the value of 8? 8 is what?
1.
What is it? Yeah, 8. What is the value of 5? Second one? That is tens, right? You have learned it in primary classes. The next value is 100. The next value is 1000. Next value is all multiplied by 10, right? The first value is 10 raised to 0, next is 10 raised to 1, then it's 10 raised to 2, then it's 10 raised to 3, right? What after the decimal? After the decimal? If I tell 10.53, what is the value of that 5 after the decimal?
10.
Hmm? If I tell 10
There's
points,
something hundredth, thousandth.
are you sure? If I tell 10.53, what is the value of 5? Yeah, like Ananya wrote, it is 1 by 10 or 10 raised to minus 1, right? When you tell decimal, when you tell 10.53, that 5 denotes 5 by 10. And the 3 denotes 3 by 100. Next one denotes 1 by 1000. See, it goes like that after the decimal, right? Point 1, point 1, point 0.01, point 0.001, like that it goes, right? Okay, I don't want to get into the maths of it. So this is what is we call as 10 base system, okay, which was invented by our people. We can all be proud by telling that it is invented by Indians, okay, which is what the whole world uses now. This is what we call as Indo-Arabic numeral, because it went from India to Arabia, and from there it went to Europe. And we can confidently tell that without that, probably the current civilization would not have reached this level. Okay, right. So when you tell base 60, instead of 10, it is 60. So when they write 563, 3 is ones, but that 6 is 6 into 60. That 5 is 5 into 60 square. The next one is into 60 cubed. Next one is 60 raised to 4. After the decimal, first one is 1 by 60. Next one is 1 by 60 into 60. Next one is 1 by 60 into 60 into 60. Okay, your head blows, but this is what they have written. 3 decimals. You go home and try to calculate. Root 2 is 1.414, right? Approximately. So that 4 in 60 base is 24. You see, 4 in 10 base is 40%. 40% of 60 is 24. And 51 is the next one, 1. So they have calculated that in 60 base up to 3 decimals. Okay, and we have troubles to calculate 3 decimals in 10 base, right? Okay. So this is when we will start admiring these folks. So much of effort they have taken, so much of effort to document, right? So, and they had like, okay. Then the next thing is why they wrote this root 2? Why they wrote, when they wrote the value of root 2? Why they drew this diagram? Why they wrote it in this diagonal?
To mark something.
Guys, we are competing with 5,500-year-old people. Okay. We are just trying to understand what they have written. If this is 1 and this is 1, what will be this diagonal of a triangle?
Root 2.
Hmm?
Root 2.
Ah, see?
So this is
Understand?
Pythagoras theory or trigonometry, something like that, no?
Yeah, exactly. This is Pythagoras theorem. So that means, see, multiple things. They knew Pythagoras theorem. They knew the maths of calculating the 60 base up to 3 decimals. Yeah. And like this, so many other stuff. But we still use some of the 60 base system in our day-to-day lives. Some of Mesopotamian remnants we still have. Do you use 60 base system? Any of you?
It's seconds, minutes.
Yeah, seconds, minute. Even the 360-degree comes from there. 60 is not a bad number. Why they would have opted on 60? Why they would have decided to make the base 60? $60 is a beautiful number. It has so many devices. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 15, 20, 30, right? Okay, so it was not a blunder. It was after a lot of thoughts. but then certain other things would have become difficult, right? Okay. So some basic algebra there, some advancements in astronomy and all those things. And then, this was another civilization. You remember which bank, which river bank?
Sir,
Nile.
Yeah, so on the banks of Nile. And then what happened is this Nile had an issue that almost all the rivers, the Nile especially, they will have floods every year. When they have floods, people will take all their stuff, everything, and put together and go to another place. And after that, when the flood recedes, they come back and try to settle it back in the same place. Do you foresee some trouble there? All of you live in some place and flooding happens. You take all your belonging and go and settle someplace, 15 day, 20 day, 1 month. Then after the flood recedes, you come back and settle back. Do you foresee some problems?
Some soil about
Sir,
when
their
the flood
land
happened.
is going to be, their plot of land is not going to be there.
Yeah, their plot is not going to be there. Yeah, when you have houses with very fixed boundaries itself, we have boundary dispute with neighbors, right? Okay, without flood. Okay. Okay. The person in the next flat hit a nail in the common floor, wall, and that is making some sound here, and you are not able to sleep at night because the person at the next door is doing some party. You have so much problem with neighbors otherwise also without flood. Right? Okay. Okay. And the leaves of the tree in the other house is falling on my house, and I have to clean it every day. So many problems with neighbors, right? Agree?
100%.
Alan is fed up with neighbors. So many problems. It's right. Okay, with Ailwasis, with Daridavasis, so many problems. Okay, so now they will be telling the same thing about you. So now what will happen? This happened like Riddhish told, the land marking becomes a tough thing. Why it becomes a tough thing? You don't know how much area of land belong to you because that time this kind of measurements were not there. So then what happened? Then what happened?
Sir, then they won't know which land is this.
That is right. Then what happened?
Result in fights.
Then what happened?
They have to develop systems for marking and
Exactly. They had to develop a system for marking, and that system added one more question paper to you in this school. Yeah? One more question paper. Okay. So that is why when we were in school, sometimes we will curse all these scientists and all these poets and everybody. These people are here. They write so many complex stuffs and tough poems. We have to write and learn and answer this. And some teachers will see how beautiful this poem is. We are thinking which question will come from this, right? Okay. And some people we used to joke by telling instead of that apple, if it was a coconut, we don't have to study this Newton's laws, right? Okay. So one more question paper comes because of that fights, whatever happened. So that is the geo means earth, metry means measurement. So that is the origin of what we understand geometry today. Probably sometimes later there could be some other proof that before this it was found out, but as of today, that is what the evidences point, right? And then this I hope all of you know, right? Do you?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
So that is your second assignment today. Okay. So assignments, as I told before, those who are interested can write. If you write, you will learn things. What are the technological and scientific innovations they have deployed in making pyramids? Okay. What are technological and scientific innovations they have deployed in making pyramids? think about it, go and read. Okay, you'll get a lot of things. There was a study even few months back, last year also, which threw some more great information. How materials were transported to that place is a big puzzle. Just go and learn, understand. So then your critical thinking ability will start getting developed. You know, so it's all about critical thinking. Most of the scientific innovations are about critical thinking. We also see the same thing. They also see the same thing, but some people will see a different thing from the same happenings. Right? I don't know, have you seen this movie called Rashomon? Very old movie, maybe some 50, 60 years back, from a very famous director called Akira Kurosawa, a Japanese legendary director. So that movie actually changed the film industry. It's called Rashomon. So Rashomon movie is one incident happens, and three people who were part of the incident are coming and narrating. When they narrate it, it looks like three different incidents. Okay. Okay, that's a different thing. But my point is, what will each person take away from the same thing? You remember what Srikanth taught you in multiverse would be different. Okay, so that's all about critical thing, right? And these people have developed a lot of metallurgy, glass making, calendar they developed. This was their number system. Now, incidentally, they had improvised to 60 from 60 base. Actually, they had developed 10 base. They were not knowing 60 base. They developed 10 base system. They developed 10 base system, but there was a catch. Okay, and take a screenshot, go home and look at it. What was the catch? Why it is different from our number system? It's also 10 base, but different from our number system. Okay, so that I don't want to spend much time on the maths here. I think I have spent enough time on that in the other course which I take on number games. But you can just have a look how that is different from our 10 base system. Okay, so and then we go to a third people, which is like our folks. When we tell our folks, this is half Pakistan, half India. Okay, maybe more than half is in Pakistan today, but then at time we all consider it as the India region, right? So this way spoke enough. So any of you can tell you learned this enough? What are the contributions to science from Harappan civilization?
So
What all
from
were
Harappan civilization,
yeah? What were the important advancements? Any idea?
Weights and
so
measures.
Weights and measures, beautiful.
so trading,
Trading is everywhere there. Do you see something from that diagram? Do you get something? Doesn't it look very symmetrical?
Is it a burial ground?
Yeah, this is not burial ground. Maybe because of COVID, Dana, you are thinking about burial ground. It's not a burial ground. Okay. It's their houses in line, but all looks very systematic. You see, similar measurement, the bricks of same size, pavements. So like some urban planning, all those things, they're good at metallurgy, pretty advanced, furnace and oven. But unfortunately, as we discussed extensively in the last class, we are not able to decipher the language. Okay, so we have a problem in understanding, of the. Yeah, I hope it will change. Okay, so now today we'll get to the last topic of the day, of the last civilization which we will talk in these things, which are our neighbors. Not in a very good relation with as of now, but unfortunately, civilization when we talk, we have to talk. So these people, they had also their own lots of development, gunpowder, pepper, printing. You know what is this?
Is it a spoon? Clock?
Okay.
Oh, it's an astronomical. I have seen this somewhere.
കഴിഞ്ഞ ക്ലാസ്സിൽ കയറിയവർ പറഞ്ഞോട്ടെ.
കഴിഞ്ഞ ക്ലാസ്സിൽ കയറിയ ഒരു മിനിറ്റ് കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ട് പറയും. First chance to those who were not there in the last class.
സാർ സാർ ചാറ്റ് നോക്കണല്ലേ?
Yes, yes, yes. I'm seeing. Okay, okay. So this was their compass. Okay. So the Chinese had a superstition. The superstition was that the houses should be north looking. Okay. So they wanted to build houses which are northern looking. Even now, in many parts of India, that superstition is there, but this is not north. What do you know when as per Vastu and all those things when you look at house? Make
ഈസ്റ്റ്
house.
അല്ലേ?
Yeah, so most of in India, many parts we look at east, we want to. But then what happens? It is such intriguing things which have developed science over a period. So to develop this, they have to learn some magnetism and some things regarding that, something about metal, something about metallurgy. What it was a superstition, but then that triggered some kind of growth and all those things. So this was they had developed compass. You know, it was developed for a superstition, but then what was its use? Biggest use?
Direction.
Yeah, especially in transport, especially when you are in sea, right? Yeah, okay. So, but in astronomy also, they had recorded evidences of comets, and also we have like recorded history of a supernova, which happens at 2137 BC. I will explain supernova during the last parts of the course when we talk about galaxies and expanding universe. Okay, so we will stop at this point today. I'll give you one more assignment. So there are 3 assignments today because you have this is the last day in this week of this class. So we will resume only in the coming Monday. Okay. So the next assignment is I have spoken about 4 major civilizations. Do you see when you look at these civilizations, which part in the globe these 4 belong to? Which part?
Asia.
Yeah, it's all very close to Asia. You see, right? China, Egypt, India, right? Mesopotamian, very close, right? We are considered third world and poor and all those things. But entire civilization we had to make. Okay, right? Okay, okay, but okay, we can't look at things like that because there were green shoots everywhere. There were civilizations in Americas too. So I want you to talk about some civilizations in American side, especially in Latin American side. So what are the civilizations which were there in America? So that is what are the scientific contributions? What are their advancements? That is another stuff. So we call it by many names, called Mesoamerican, Olmec, and pretty recently, something I think few years back, 2-3 decades back, we realized that there is a very old civilization in Americans called Norte Chico, which the proof emerged on. That's why you all would not have learned in school, because many of the things which you learn in school are based on the books which are written maybe a couple of decades back. So that's a problem. Yeah, Mayan is actually this civilization. Mayan is this whatever we call as Mesoamerican is Mayan civilization. Okay, but you will get WhatsApp messages that Mayan calendar is ending on 2000. So keep your everything safe. The world will end on 2000. Okay. So that is only usage of that civilization as of today for many people. So that is your one more assignment. With that, we are taking a logical break. So from this week, we will conclude. Next week, when we come back, we will start from not the ancient civilization. We will get into the mid-time civilizations. We will get much closer to the timeline today. May get into 700, 800, 900 BC. And we will start talking about one of the most important scientific revolutions which the world has witnessed. Okay, any questions?
So you asked us about the contributions of Harappan civilizations.
Yeah.
So they introduced the drainage system.
Exactly. So that's what when I showed that picture, you see, that is what it shows. They had that's a town planning of theirs. They had drainages, and they had like from every house the pipe wending out, and from there it goes to uniform lines. Excellent point. Urban planning, what we call as urban planning. Yeah, very all this. Right. Any questions? Any questions?